Hello, my name is Livia Tomova and I'm a college research fellow at the University of Cambridge working in cognitive neuroscience. There is a paradox that we are experiencing at this moment in time in society. Advances in digital technology allow us to pretty much constantly interact with other people. But despite this virtual interconnectedness, loneliness has been rising sharply over the past decade, particularly in young people. This development has been further intensified since the outbreak of the pandemic and the resulting social distancing measures. Yet our understanding of how loneliness affects the brains and minds of young people is limited. My research aims to address these gaps in research. Indeed, correlational studies have found links between adolescent loneliness and mental health problems. However, the direction of causality remains unclear in these types of studies. To address this issue, I have developed a novel experimental approach. And during a 3-year postdoc in cognitive neuroscience at MIT, I worked together with animal researchers to translate their methods of experimental isolation into a novel approach to study human loneliness. My approach is unique in that it uses experimental short-term isolation in combination with neuroimaging to experimentally induce feelings of loneliness and then study its effects on the human brain. In one of my studies, we were interested in studying how the experience of craving social contact is represented in the brain. We asked people to spend a day in a room in our lab without any social contact and scanned their brains when they were looking at pictures of their favorite social activities. We also asked the same people to fast for a whole day on another day and then scanned their brains when they were looking at pictures of their favorite foods. We specifically looked at one brain region, the substantia nigra, which is the core of our motivation system in the brain. Here we found that this brain area responded in similar ways after fasting and after isolation. When people were isolated, the brain region showed higher activity in response to pictures of other people and not to food. But when they were fasted, the substantia nigra showed higher activity in response to pictures of food and not to social pictures. The amount of activity we found in the substantia nigra was correlated with how much people reported to want food or social contact. We then used machine learning, and we trained a machine learning algorithm to identify how neural signals of a hungry person who looks at pictures of food look like. And we then showed the algorithm brain signals of a lonely person looking at pictures of other people, and asked if it could differentiate those from control signals without ever having actually seen those neural signals before. And it could. So this suggests that there is a shared neural signature between craving for food and craving for social contact. These results provide evidence on a neural level that loneliness is a motivational drive, just like hunger, that signals to us that something is lacking and drives us to take action and repair what is lacking. And this suggests that the need to connect might be a very basic human need. My research has also shown that loneliness causes cognitive changes in young people, mainly in the way how they process rewards, specifically social rewards. A working hypothesis explaining these results is that loneliness itself is an adaptive response that causes us to be driven to seek social contact. But if loneliness is experienced over longer durations, the very same changes that lead to compensatory behaviors then result in negative consequences, such as increased proneness to develop addictions and affective disorders. One open question I aim to address in my ongoing research is who is most vulnerable to the experience of mental health problems following loneliness and why. Previous research has shown that despite experiencing similar adversity in their youth, some people develop mental health problems and others don't. I'm currently investigating whether we can identify brain markers predicting such a vulnerability to the negative effects of loneliness. Importantly, questions about loneliness in today's generation of young people have become tightly interrelated with questions about social media and what it means to be digitally connected with others. Another key question in my ongoing research is, can virtual social interactions satisfy the social needs of young people? First results from my ongoing research show that the answer might be more complicated. While being able to interact with others virtually seems to remediate some of the effects of social isolation on young people, it does not remediate all the effects. My colleagues and I are now looking into what might be driving these different findings. The big goal of my research is to generate transformative novel insights into how loneliness affects brain function and cognition in young people, and propose mechanistic pathways for how loneliness might lead to mental health problems. Thank you very much for listening. If you're interested to hear more, please go on this website to read more about my research.